Hey guys, welcome back. This is your girl Toya T, and this is my recap and review of Insecure's Season 2, Episode 5, Hella Shook. Welcome back for the wind down of this episode, and it definitely was hella shook, had me hella shook. I loved this entire episode. Apparently, it was some of the actors' favorite episode too, so let's get down to it. Cheers. I got a nice rich red blend for this one. So starting off with Issa. So we see her when the episode opens and she's in traffic and she seems to be feeling herself and sending out cute text messages, going through Tinder, you know, setting up her whole rotation, as she calls it. And we see that she shows up at someone's door and you're like, what's going on here? What is she doing? What's going on? You know, okay. And then the person opens the door and it's Daniel, and he greets her with a huge smile and they start making out, and you know shit went down. I was like, oh my gosh, that opening. When they made up, I thought at the end of last episode that maybe they would just be cool, they'd be friends, and she wouldn't. I mean, I did say she was going to add him to the whole rotation. What am I talking about? I did say she was going to add, you know, Daniel's sexy ass. He was looking all good and chocolate, and he got them nice teeth and stuff. And so, of course, she added him back. And I am like, yes, I forgot how much I like seeing Daniel on this. Like, he is one sexy piece of chocolate cake. So anyway, we now know that Issa and Daniel are messing around again, and she's added him to the whole rotation. But she's making sure that she's trying to keep it nice and clean. So she's leaving after they have sex. She's not staying over, and, you know, not trying to, you know, cross lines to get things complicated, that this is more than us being friends who also fuck for her. But what we see later on in the episode, Issa gets into a car accident, her fault. And I probably would have got into a car accident too if I got what she got during while she was at the stoplight. She was, of course, going through her whole rotation. She's talking to someone called potential, I think she said potential hoe, potential babe, potential whole rotation, something, potential dick. She should have just called him that, because, you know, she's like, oh, your picture was cute, you said you send me more pictures, and he sends her a picture of his penis, which was quite beautiful. I should have paused there, but I mean, I've seen penises, but still, it was just there. I didn't expect to see that. It was just like, bam. And so that's exactly what happened. She saw it and she went bam into the car in front of her. Definitely that was her fault. Her car is pretty much totaled in the front, and so she sends a message to Daniel to let him know, like, I got into a car accident, so I didn't want to make you think that I flaked on you. And so he's like, no, let me pick you up. She's like, no, I'll get a ride. But he insists. He comes and picks her up from where she had the accident, and from right there she tries to make sure that she makes everything clear with him. Like, you know, last time, you know, when we kind of hooked up, I didn't make things clear, and I hope you know that, like, we're cool, right? Like, we're just, like, you're sleeping with other people, I'm sleeping with other people, and or at least seeing other people. And so just want to make sure. And Daniel looks like he's a little bit thrown back by that. Like, I know that he really has feelings for Issa. He was trying to make a go of it with her after the whole sex thing happened in his studio. And so it seems like he was trying to save face, like, oh yeah, you know, we cool, whatever. And they look at each other and they kind of, you know, they go off after he picks her up. So that's it for Daniel and Issa. But it's not the end of Daniel, because he actually plays a part with Lawrence's part of the episode. So we catch up with Lawrence. He has jury duty, because remember from the first episode, he had the summons. He found out that he does have jury duty. So when he's waiting in the room for jury duty, he decides to go look through his phone, you know, just mindlessly surfing through things. And he happens to look at a picture. I don't know if it was, I think it was either Kelly's page or Tiffany's page, or something like that. But he happens to see Issa in the, so from the other night when they, not the other night, but from the kiss and grind, he happens to see a group picture, but Issa's not in the group, she's in the background, and you see in the background that she's talking to Daniel, and all of a sudden the jealousy bangs, the jealousy, you know, toll rings, and Lawrence is jealous. Now we know that after he had that wild threesome with those two adventurous young ladies, that he actually ended up in front of Issa's apartment and kind of seemed to be, I don't know, a bit lost. And so it's crazy that he sees it. He actually does what I do all the time, and he actually zooms in on the picture to see, like, okay, is that really Daniel that she's with? And so he gets called in for jury duty, and even when he is in the jury box, he is still looking at these pictures. He's looking at pictures of Daniel. He goes onto Daniel's Facebook page and does, you know, some snooping there. He was doing some Facebook stalking, which I'm happy that the show did this, because I have never really seen a guy, you know, Facebook stalking, especially on television or just anything like that, unless, you know, they're a crazy stalker that's looking through her stuff and she was only mine and I'm gonna kill her. Like, this was actually real. Like, he, you know, he wants that old thing back, kind of. He still has feelings for Issa, and he's just upset. Like I told you, that he would be upset if he found out that Issa is still talking or messing around with Daniel. He gets a message from Tiffany's husband, Derek, whose birthday is coming up, and he's like, you know, we should meet up to have drinks. When he does meet up with Derek, he's running the gamut on, like, I can't believe that she, you know, is doing this and da-da-da. And Derek's like, I'm trying to keep out of it, because after the whole Tasha thing, you know, me and Tiffany decided that we should stay out of it because it just causes problems. And he's like, Lawrence is really doing the whole, like, I wonder if she cheated on me the whole time. Like, I never thought about it. And then Derek points out, like, you know that Issa's horrible at lying. She is hella awkward, so you would have been able to tell. Like, she's not that smooth. And Lawrence agrees. He's like, yeah, I know, she ain't that smooth. And then Derek, unlike crazy ass freaking Chad, is a little bit more clear-minded and tells Lawrence exactly what people needed to tell him, exactly what he needed to, what, you know, people outside are saying, at least for the females. Like, come on, dude, like, you are unemployed for 2 years, sleeping on her couch, having her pay all the bills, taking care of you. And so I'm not saying it's right that she cheated on you, but you can't really blame her for looking at someone who is doing things and, you know, making things happen while you sitting here like a bum on the couch. And so Lawrence is like, oh man, I don't want to hear that, you know, like, he's not like I want to hear that, but he acts like that, like, oh, you know, like, you're on her side, whatever. But I think it did hit in, like, he's like, oh man, like, maybe not contributing to a relationship and neglecting your woman. And so this is what kind of happens. Like, you know, relationships are work on both sides, and you can't have one person just doing all the work. So I was happy that happened. Okay, let's talk about Molly. We get to learn a lot more about Molly. I'm so excited about this. So at first we see Molly. She's in Chicago. So she finally makes the trip out to Chicago. She's hanging out with the male lawyer that's played by Little Rel, who is in Get Out and was on the show, The Carmichael Show. And they have a really good camaraderie. I don't know. I thought that they might hook up and there might be some sparks that way, but it doesn't seem like he is. It seems like they have like a real homeboy, homegirl kind of relationship that's developing. He is telling her, like, okay, maybe you might want to expand your options, because if you haven't said anything yet about the white boy making more money than you and you're still upset about it, like, maybe you should, you know, look out for another city like Chicago or any other firm. Like, the firm that you're at is not the only firm out there. And I think that's one of the problems too, that sometimes we get kind of stuck. We kind of focus on, like, I've been building for so long at this company, and even when I notice that something is wrong, that I'm afraid of giving up on all this hard work that this foundation that I started. But I think in Molly's case, she really probably should look to other law firms, because if they don't respect her enough to pay her an equitable salary to someone who is the same year as her, came at the same time, and actually does less work than she does, then she needs to go find someplace that will value her, just like he said. And so I'm happy that we saw this part right there. She's like, okay, she's thinking about like, you know, maybe keeping my options open. And for her, this whole episode is about her keeping her options open. She is trying to stay open with her career and then also now with her relationships. We catch up with Molly. After the Chicago trip, she comes back because her parents are having their vow renewal. We see that she's bringing some flowers over to the house, and as she's unpacking it out of her car, we run into Dro, which turns out his full name is Alejandro, and which I think is really cute and sexy. Sexy, make it look okay. Let me stop. And so we found out that his parents actually live across the street. That's how he knows Molly and her family. They've been longtime neighbors, and so he tries to talk to her about what happened at the kiss and grind. He said, I really threw a lot at you and I'm sorry. And she's like, well, you were kind of drunk. And he's like, no, I wasn't drunk. I was telling you, I was being open, letting you know that I am interested in you, but I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. And so he apologizes for that, and she tells him, you know, married or not, like you're married, open or not open, like it's just not something I'm interested in. And so it seems like she closed the door on that. And as I said, this whole episode for her is about being open to possibilities. So we'll see a little bit later in the episode that she changes her mind about that. So Molly goes into her parents' house, and we get to meet, I'm so happy about this season that we get to meet more of the main characters' families. We already met Issa's brother, and in this episode we get to meet Molly's parents and her brothers. And so we see the whole dynamic. Her parents are very loving towards each other, still got that fire going. They're even, you know, making some kissing on the neck and getting real kind of like, you know, trying to get something started up in the kitchen in front of Molly. And it's like, oh, wait a second. He's like, you know, her mother's like, you know, don't start something you ain't able to finish it, you know, don't start it here, you know. And Molly's just disgusted, and also just like, you know, thinking about how this is something that she wanted, that a marriage of 35 years and, you know, still have that fire and that love for each other. And so you can see that she's thinking about how she wants that for herself. Her brothers come in, and we see that real kind of play mentality between them where they're joking around. You know, she's making fun of her brothers and their choices, and we find out one of her brothers married a stripper, which is hella funny. We can see that her parents are very proud of her and treat her a little bit different, maybe because she's the girl, maybe because she's been this big success in the family, and, you know, because the father actually lets Molly drink his Snapple, which he tells, you know, his sons, like, that's my Snapple, you can't have none, and he lets Molly have one, no question. And so we see that cute dynamic between the whole family unit of Molly. So a little later in the episode, we see Molly at her parents' vow renewal. She's working the entrance table or the front table, and, you know, greeting the guests. And who do we see next to her but Lionel? And, you know, the brother that was just like Molly, as Issa told her, like, this dude sounds a lot like you know, someone who has all his stuff together career-wise, is good looking, and is looking to settle down and fast track into a serious commitment. And Molly was just, you know, curving and ghosting. And as we learn later, she's talking to her brother that she brought him because she wants to have what her parents have, this love. And she's like, you know what, I should keep my options open. This guy is a good guy on paper, and he's still very much into me, and so why not pursue and see what is out there with him. And her brother kind of, you know, tells her, like, do not settle. Like, yeah, this dude might be good, he might have all these things working for him, but, like, you need to be in love with that person, not just have that one side all filled out. Like, you need both. Like, you need to have someone who's good on paper, has their stuff together, but also someone that you have that love and spark for. Like, he says, like, you know, I married a stripper, she trapped me, but I love her. And I recognize she trapped me, and I love her. And so She kind of brushes it off, but Lionel is just so happy to be at this family event, which I don't know if that was a good idea. Like, yes, oh, I guess for him, he wouldn't even see it that way. If he's like Molly, then he's just like, yes, I just get invited to a family event. This is exactly what I want to do. Like, we're getting closer to that ring and the altar, like within six months. And so I just wouldn't have brought someone who I'm not really like serious dating to a family function. But in the case of Lionel, I think he wasn't scared off by it, and for Molly, she was just doing it because she's trying to force herself into something. What we find out when she talks to her aunts a little bit later on is that it turns out that her father actually cheated on her mother very early in their marriage, which she did not know, but her brothers knew. The aunt was like, I'm surprised they made it to 35 because I didn't know they were going to make it to 5 after what he put my sister through, like, really. And she finds out that there was infidelity, and she's really upset. Like, Molly's world seems to have just been shattered. Like, she, I think all this time thought, like, if I find the right person and I put this work into it and, really develop a strong relationship with that guy, with that man, then I'm gonna have a great, long-lasting, ideal marriage like my parents. And then she finds out that that ideal is false, that her parents are a real couple, and that her father, that she admires and cheated on her mother, and her mother, who she also respects, stayed with him and kept him. And so when she confronts them, because she's like really upset, like to the point of disrespect, like, I can't believe you did that, Daddy, like, and why did you stay, Mom? And she's like, that was a long time ago. Her mother tells her it was a long time ago. And obviously they worked through it and forgave each other. Like, there was forgiveness, they worked through it, and they seem to have a stronger relationship from that. She just can't understand it. She runs out. Both Dro and Lionel run after her, and Lionel kind of doesn't know what to do, and he concedes to Dro to go talk her down. Like, I think he just viewed him as like, this is her childhood friend, he knows her better. And so like, Lionel stays there. I was like, okay, dude, I understand, like, you don't really know her, which again is why you shouldn't be trying to fast track things, because you don't know her, you don't know how to calm her down. And so Dro puts Molly into her car, and he drives her car home, and they're talking, and she's like, I just can't believe this. And Dro is telling her, like, relationships, especially marriage, is hard. And there are, many things that you have to think about, that it's not perfect, that you're two flawed human beings that are coming together and trying to build a life together, trying to build something together that both makes you happy, but will involve some compromise. And he's like, like, Molly's like, snapping at him, like, what you on my dad's side, you on that side? And he's like, no, I'm not on that side, I'm just trying to let you know what it is, what marriage is, as someone who's married. And so you can understand that marriages are complicated, that people's relationships are complicated, and it's really not for you to understand, it's for those two people to understand. And so he drops her off at her place, and she's asking him, like, how are you gonna get home, because you just drove in my car. And he's like, I'll take a lift or something. He's giving her the bedroom eyes, like, I'm here for you, girl. And she's looking real vulnerable, like, I just need some love, I just need something. Like, she needs that warm internal hug of body parts. And so all of a sudden she pulls him, like, into her place, and the next scene we see, they are fucking. There's no other way of putting it. Like, they weren't making love, they weren't having sex, they were fucking. Like, we see full on Dro ass, like, he is getting at, and she's like, just completely enwrapped in it. Obviously it's exactly what she needed. So we will see how that picks up in next episode. But Molly, I told you, it's all about her being open to things, and so she opened the door to this being a third member of this open marriage. I'm sure they will be bringing his wife back so that they can have a conversation about this, because there's no way that there's not going to be feelings involved, especially as someone, like, she's having sex with someone that she knows a long time, a childhood friend. And he obviously cares for her, and I'm pretty sure with this open marriage that was one of the boundaries, that, you know, you can have sex with someone else, but you cannot be in a full-on relationship with them. There can't be love and affection, and so I think it's going to get kind of complicated there. And so we'll see how that turns out. And damn, Lionel, I feel so bad. I hope you don't turn into a fuck boy, because this girl, you know, that you are this great guy on paper, and she just like ghosted you and left you and fucked this other dude, and you just standing here being this like great guy on paper. Like, for all the Lionels out there, please stay a good guy. Stay the good guy. There is a woman out there who wants all your goodness. Possibly me. Anyway, and Issa crazy. So she's, you know, juggling all her bae. She got Daniel bae. We do see that she goes on a date during this weekend with this Latino man that she meets on Tinder, who's good looking and seems to be interested in her. They have this whole like nerdy DC versus Marvel comics conversation, and it goes very well. She's trying to get across to him, you know, through her raps in her mind and just through her actual sayings that she's trying to fuck him that night. And he's actually trying to date her. He's like, well, I gotta go, you know, I gotta leave because I have a flight in the morning, early flight, but this is an excuse for us to see each other again. And so I'm looking forward to see him like be in the rotation, see how that works out. So she has him, Daniel, and she has you know, apartment bae who was sending her FaceTime messages. I don't know, I don't have an Android. It looks like an Android thing, where he was like kind of sending like short FaceTime messages, face messages, video messages. And you know, she was at the rogue retreat, and he's like, you know, you bored, how bored, you know, send me a pic. And Issa gets the not bright idea to try to send him a titty pic in front of the bathroom mirror at her job. I was like, girl, this is when you go to the stall. You go to the stall, you pick out one of your old photos that you have in your phone, because you know everybody like take pictures of themselves naked. I don't know if it's just me. I know it's not just me. And so she gets caught by one of her coworkers. Like, she has it up her shirt, because Issa ain't got no sense, and she walks in and she's like, oh, I'm just, you know, checking for breast cancer. And the coworker's like, ew. And so I just thought that was hella funny. But that's that for this episode. What did you think of episode 5? We're on the second half of the season. There's only 8 episodes this season, and it's quickly getting to that, you know, up to the end, and we'll see where this goes. Obviously, Lawrence still has feelings for Issa because he is Facebook stalking Daniel. He's Facebook stalking Issa and looking through her stuff. He's talking to Derek about what is Issa doing. Is she dating Daniel? And he seems to be jealous. Issa is fully into her dating and being single and having a whole rotation. And Molly is now open to maybe possibly getting a new job and also being in a open relationship with an open marriage. And so, or being in a sexual relationship with an open marriage. So I don't know, let me know what you think about this episode. Do you like where it's going? Where do you think what's gonna happen? Where do you think this whole thing is going? What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think Issa and Lawrence gonna get back together? Like, where do you see it? It's so many possibilities. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Come back for another wind down with me next week. Make sure you have your glass of wine, or, you know, alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage. You don't gotta drink to be in the wind down of choice. And I will see you guys next week for episode 6. Cheers. See you guys later. This was a good choice.